want to screw around like this, I'm not holding on to everything. They just want the money for themselves, and they don't want to give it up.
That's cool. Virtual attendees.
That's his deal. It'll work. I really wish I could go over
Going to
Hey.
Bill LeBeau.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and visiting guests. Thanks for being here. We're going to get the meeting started. We have our speaker today, Meehan. He's the general manager at the Irving Convention Center. And you were here a couple years back, talked to us about post-COVID and some of the things that they were doing there. So we're excited to see some of the changes and updates from the Convention Center. If you could please rise, we're going to have Dr. Bill LeBeau lead us in prayer.
In announcements, we were started out a little thin Saturday, but we ended up with a full crew and we made 60 flags. So we're done. I thought at first it was just going to be John and me, but actually we kept filtering and did well. So
What was going on? Probably.
there was a race or something on the schedule this year. Secondly, we have picked up another pilot camper.
Woo! Hey!
Money that club is not going to be able to fulfill one. They had one that dropped out. I don't know if they're going to pay for it. So we will have 8 campers go to ride on Sunday afternoon. And so that's we had 8. The Sunrise Club has 5. That's 13. And there's 191 going total, so that out of 68 clubs in this district, we are significantly represented. And the third thing is to go to our kind of prayer once you know. Senator Davidson fell about a week ago, fractured her elbow and has cracks in her pelvis. She did not break her pelvis, but she went to the hospital and was in our rehab. So she's 90 years old, and none of that is good news. So with that, we join in the spirit of prayer. Eternal God, we give you thanks for the blessings of this day. We give you thanks for the rain which continues to fall upon us in just the right amounts. We give you thanks that we have not been subject to the severe weather that's afflicted those to the north of us. We give you thanks for this club and for our work in the community as we give out the first day of flags this weekend and our rally campers. Ask your spirit to be upon all of them. We ask your spirit to be upon us to bless our work, to bless this food, take the nourishment of our bodies, and keep us to stay in your peace. In the name of Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Dr. LeBeau. Heather, if you could please help us out with this.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And it looks like we have a song today from us.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
So, I don't want to stand here.
Yeah, go ahead and stand. This will be real brief. One of the last songs that we had with Sandra Davis and Neil was You Are My Sunshine, and on a day that's going to be pretty rainy, I thought we could all use a little more sunshine, so please feel free to join me in singing You Are My Sunshine. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dears, how much I love you. So please don't take my sunshine away.
We have been busy on those song singing, so thanks for that. You're welcome. We do have some guests today, and we have Donna to help us introduce our guests. And I just want to comment a little bit on before we introduce our guest on the 13 RIDA students, and what that means to the community and also for next year for the interact clubs at the high school. So those 13 kids are going to a leadership training camp, right, about Rotary. That one, like Shane and some people in the future knowing that they come back and serve the club, but also it can help us restart those interact at the different high schools because there's 13 of them. Shane's been doing some great work already, working on finding the student teachers that are going to be able to help get those programs started, and also support those programs already there. So hopefully in the next year or so, as Dr. Navarro takes his role as the president, we're able to then focus as well with what Shane's doing and to grow those programs and get those kids involved. Again, 13 of them are already going to be in those high schools helping us this next 12 months, so we're excited about that.
Yeah.
Our guests today are Aaron, also. Yes, Robert, also. And Jimmy, yes.
And we're going to have our speaker be introduced by Councilman Taylor shortly. But before that, every now and then we'd like to highlight a couple members from the club, just to highlight some of the areas of why they're members, but also for you guys who maybe didn't know something about them. So today we're going to have Heather join us here in front. Foundation, and I guess you can tell us more.
Thank you. So my name is Heather Baker, like last mentioned, and I have been in Irving at the Irving Foundation for about 2 years in July. And so my history is I've been doing service work, nonprofit work since I graduated from Meehan in 2008. And so I've been a few places, but I found myself here at the foundation and excited about that. But joining Rotary to get to know people in the community and have made some really great friends, but also to get involved with the work that's being done in the community. So I've really enjoyed it. Personally, I'm married, I have a husband at home, and then a 5-year-old boy, Jack, and then a 2-year-old boy, Teddy. So they keep me very busy at home.
What does your husband do?
He's a firefighter.
All right.
We're working on that.
So yeah, thank you, and excited to be here.
Right on.
Thank you, Heather. And Heather is very busy as well with the foundation. They do so much in the community, and you can talk to her and learn more about some of the works that they're doing into something that you as well. And the Baylor Star White Irving Foundation is one of the organizations that this club supports year-round and has for a very long time, and we're excited to have you as a member. So, with that, we are going to have Councilman Taylor here. We're very fortunate that we have a great leaders in the community that can because people that are movers and shakers and town like comments. So here's Kyle.
I don't know how fortunate you were to have me, but anyway, so it's my pleasure to introduce Tom Meehan. Mara, if I get this wrong, you can correct me, please, while you watch on TV.
She's like, what?
Tom Meehan is the general manager, Irving Convention Visitor Center, Irving Convention Center, Las Colinas, 19-year veteran of the venue, serving in the industry. Began his career in hospitality at early age, spent 15 years with AMC Theaters, opening 2 theaters here in the DFW area, Grapevine Mills and Seat 30 Theaters. He joined SMG, now AS here, in 2005, and was involved in the construction and opening of the 350,000 square foot Shreveport Convention Center just down the road in Louisiana. In March of 2010, Tom jumped at the next opportunity and joined the Irving Convention Center team and was an integral part of the construction and opening of a 275,000 square foot facility in January of 2011. Although Tom was born in Massachusetts, he grew up just down the road in Louisiana, a military family as one of 6 kids. His father was a major in the United States Air Force and served as a navigator on Meehan bombers. He graduated from Louisiana Tech with a Bachelor of Science degree in Finance. Even though he grew up in Louisiana, he's always felt like a part of Texas and has always been in Dallas County with all that. Tom enjoys spending time with his wife and college-age son, who just finished his first semester at Ole Miss. But Tom really likes to play golf.
Yeah.
It's very odd to see him not in golf course with you. Tom enjoys golf with his son anytime and traveling with his family and friends and getting away when he can, especially when it involves the beach. Tom is a member of several industry organizations, including International Association of Venue Managers, International Association of Exhibits and Exhibitions, and Texas Society of Associated Executives. I serve on the Irving Convention Visitors Bureau, and it's been an honor and pleasure to work with Tom to really understand and learn what his management philosophy and style is. And I don't think people sometimes underestimate or understand how lucky we are at that convention center to have the leadership we have, whether it's Mara or Tom working as a team to make sure that convention center runs the way it does. Helps to sell things that happen in the city through their convention and business bureau program. They're a great team, but it's always an honor and pleasure spending time with Tom. So happy to see Tom in as your speaker today.
So two things, I was looking at my schedule this morning and saw Las Colinas Country, but I thought I had tea time. And so now you're speaking, so I changed. I did just get back from the beach just the other day.
Nice.
On vacation, so it's been a whirlwind few days trying to get back in the mix here, but it's great being here today. It's going to be very difficult for me to stay behind this podium and you used to walking around, so if I drift out, I'll push you back in a little bit. But it's great to be here today and part of the National Travel Tourism Month. I know last week you were here, you were online, you got to hear from Lori Fatasic and Acton with Irving CPB, who we work very closely with. But today we're gonna fine tune a little bit, and we're gonna talk about the convention center itself. I am an employee of ASM Global. When we were hired to manage the building back in 2009-10, we were SMG. We've been bought out. We became ASM Global. We are almost in the process of being bought out again to become Legends, which is on the horizon. So that's who I work for. I work for Mora in the CBD. I'm a contract employee. And so how are we funded? How does that work? Many of you probably ask. I'm a line item on Mora's budget every year. So she gets that pleasure of having me on there. So what she does is she actually gives us, we get a subsidy to run the building every year. She starts us off with about 1.395 million. That's the subsidy we receive. The building, and I'm using rounded numbers, actually costs about $8.5 million a year to operate. When you talk about payroll, repairs, expenses, all of that stuff, it's about $8.5 million. She gives me 1.395 and says, you're on your own, do this, make up the rest of it. So that's what we do to make up that difference. And at the end of the year, depending on how we do, if I don't need that 1.395 or I don't need all of it, I can give her some of that money back. And we'll talk about that in a little while when we talk about our results. So that's kind of how we're funded. And as the building gets older and older, it becomes more challenging, and especially now that we've come out of COVID and you've seen the price of everything, labor, food, you go to the grocery store, you see all that, our expenses have gone up extensively since we came out of COVID. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. So how does the convention center work? In the convention center, I have 5 departments. I have a sales department, I have an events department, I have an operations department, I have a food and beverage department, and I have a finance department. So in CBD, as you know, is office with us while they're together. So we both sell the building. CBD, Glory and Matt, they're selling Irving, all of Irving, and they're selling the Irving Convention Center. My sales team focuses on just the convention center and any event inside of 1 year. So we're kind of filling in the gaps as we go through the year with different space that's available. So I have those 5 departments, and basically we're selling events. We are servicing those events. So once it's sold, it goes over to the events department. And we work with those clients on every single detail of those events and planning that event. So when they walk in the door, everything is ready to go. And we work through all those processes, whether it's parking, whether it's AV, whether it's decorating, whether it's food and beverage, whatever it is, we have everything ready to go when they're here. So then it's up to the operations department. These are the guys that set all the rooms, they set all the tables, they set all the chairs, they set all the stages, they set all anything and everything that has to be done for the event. Power on the floor for booths, pipe and drape, you name it. The operations team is the one that puts the events together and actually makes it happen. And then we service all the food and beverage needs of all the clients. So all their meals, the planning of breakfast, the planning of lunch, the planning of dinner, buffet, or custom meals, or whatever it may be. We work with them and plan every single aspect of that on the food and beverage side. And then in the end, the event happens, and all this information and folder is turned over to finance, and the finance team will actually send the final bill and collect the money and close the event out. So we do more than just sell. We sell and we execute the event from top to bottom. So a little bit about the each of the departments. The sales department, my sales department consists of a sales director and 3 sales managers. They do a fantastic job of filling in the gaps. We work with the CBD. The CBD is filling in a year and out. So we kind of have a look on what's on the books a year out, and we kind of look at where the gaps are, because we can do 2 or 3 events in a day. Different events. It doesn't have to be 1 event. We can do 3 events in a day. So the sales team does a lot of that selling. It's really funny to look at where we are, because the sales managers have goals on what they have to do. And one of their goals, for a quarter was they had to go out and do so many outside sales calls. What I found out is I had to take that out because we have so many leads coming in on the phone and through different avenues that there's no times we even go out and do sales calls. I mean, they are coming in that fast. The events team has a director of events, and I have about 4 event managers and a couple of event coordinators. The event manager job is the toughest job of anybody because they spend so much time with the client. And they have event after event after event that they're constantly, while one event is going on, they're actually working on the next and the next. And some of these events that are 4 or 5 days long and 2,000 people, and they use every room in the building. There's a lot of work that goes into that. The events department is one of the most demanding jobs in that whole building. And so they do an incredible job with what they do. The operations team, these guys are just incredible. They can flip a room overnight. They can have an event in at midnight, 1 o'clock, and by the morning the whole room can be flipped into another event ready to go for the next one. They build stages, they do everything. They're just an incredible group of guys. Then if you've ever been to the convention center, if you've ever eaten a meal at the convention center, you'll know how incredible the food is. Our executive chef Eduardo Alvarez, still there. I'm still taking care of him. I give him everything he needs. I make him sign new contracts to stay longer all the time. But he's still there. We got 2 incredible sous chefs now. The food, as you know, is fantastic. And one of the main reasons that clients come back to our building is for the food and beverage that we serve in the building. It is what, food and beverage is what we are mainly known for. And when you look at our revenue lines, food and beverage is up there at the very top. And we'll talk about a few of those numbers here in just a little bit. So the incredible food department, food and beverage manager, the food and beverage staff, the wait staff, the cooks, just an incredible team to have together in that department. And then the finance department, the director of finance, and the two finance people that work in there. They're mainly there to close out the folders and to send out the final bills and to collect the final payments to close out the events. They're the ones that put the monthly financials together for me. They keep me informed as to where we're at, let me know where we need to improve, what's happening anywhere on the financial side. So they also do an incredible job. So that's my 5 departments in what we do day to day. It is a grind day to day. And if you look at our calendar, there isn't many open days at all on the calendar. So when we talk about results for the convention center, a lot of people wonder, how is the convention center actually doing? How has this destination evolved over the years? And I can go back all the way to the beginning. I was the only building in the field out there. There was nothing around me. We were doing 350 events a year. Anything we could find to book, 1 day, 2 day events, we were booking. And so the other thing is, when I came on, when we first opened, we did a lot of travel. We get out of Austin all the time. Austin has its own state associations that all have an annual meeting that you would like to get. One of the first things I noticed was in every meeting we went to in Austin, every single one of them said, "Where is Irving? Where is Irving?" And that bothered the heck out of me to hear so many times. And we made those changes a long time ago. It was how do we differentiate, how do we get people to know Irving? And instead of being at some of the shows with little 10 by 10 booths, we were just as big as the Dallas Convention Center booth or the Fort Worth booth, or we were one of the 4 major booths in the show. And we spent a lot of time down there driving home who we were as Irving. We were also at the time, because I was building in the middle of the field, we were promoting the music factory that was supposed to be built, the Westin Hotel that was supposed to be built, which wasn't built at the time. So we're down there with videos and pictures and trying to show them all that and really building ourselves up. I do remember when there was a couple hiccups in the program. I said, I can never go back down there again if this doesn't happen, ever, because they will never believe me again. But it happened. And you look at what's out here now in the fields that were once vacant when we opened. You have the pavilion with the concerts now. You have the music factory with all the restaurants. You have the Westin Hotel. You have the Texan Hotel. You have Chris's Health down the road. Yes, Texas State Bank, new building. You don't in now the Wells Fargo campus. You don't see any land over there anymore. It's absolutely amazing from where we started this project to where we are today. How has that affected business at the convention center over this period of time? The group sizes have gotten bigger. The booking window has changed. There's events now that we have had for 8 or 9 years that we cannot rebook because there are bigger, larger groups coming in that, according to the booking policy, take precedence over their event. They're only allowed a 6-month window to book. We got events coming in that qualify for a year out to book. Higher rates have come about with that same thing. So a lot's changed from the beginning. The other thing is COVID was huge to us. Now, last time I was here, I remember being here talking about the convention center, but at the time, we weren't open. We were still closed. I talked about what I did every day. I went into work, I collected the mail, and I walked down the hallways delivering mail in everybody's boxes. We were trying to get any event we could. We brought in some events and gave them the building free, like wrestling. Tried to sell them beer and parking and make some money because we just couldn't do anything. That was the last time I was here. And then, you know, as we come out of COVID, you wonder what is going to happen? What's going to happen with the convention center? How are we going to perform? I can tell you that I could have never imagined what would happen coming out of COVID. Because we went into COVID on a record-setting pace. We were in a year where we were going to set every record in the book. And halfway through that year, COVID hit and shut us down. So, you know, coming back out of COVID is like, what are we going to do? What's business going to be like? Are we going to get into business? Are we going to be able to? It's been absolutely incredible what has happened since COVID. Last year, we broke every single record in the book. Every single revenue record in the book we broke last year. Woo! At the same time, we also broke the expense record. You gotta remember, we talked about the cost of labor, cost of food, all these things went up so much. The other interesting point is that we are now having less events than we have ever had before. In the beginning, the first few years, we were over the 300 mark. We were doing 300, 325, 350. Right now, we are going to be lucky to break the 200 barrier mark this year, and we will again break every record in the book this year with that many less events. And you say, why? Because now we are doing bigger, longer events. Which I said a few minutes ago, some of these events that have been around long, we can't rebook them because we can't fit them in because of the booking costs. Bigger, longer events are coming in. So now we're only doing 200 events or less a year. And we're getting ready this year. We're ahead of last year's pace. We will break all those same records this year that we just broke last year, which is scary to me. Because my numbers are based on the previous year. So when I have a great year, I have to beat those numbers the following year. And that always scares me. And after the record setting year last year, I thought, I don't know how we're going to do this again next year. I just don't know. And as we've gone through the year, you look at the numbers, it's been mind-blowing to see where we were at this year. We talked a little bit about food and beverage. Food and beverage is our lifeline in the building. Last year, we did about $7.6 million in food and beverage alone. That is an astonishing number for the size of this building. And I do comparisons with our building versus a lot of my colleagues in our other convention centers around the country. It's an astonishing number that we do in the building. And while we were at 7.1 last year, we are looking at doing around 7.6 million this year. Absolutely incredible. When we look at everything, we also have to look at customer service. How do we do customer service wise? This is another reason that we bring so many people back. Surveys go out to every group that come in. I don't send the surveys out. I have nothing to do with them. They all come through Maura and her team. So every event that happens in the building, survey goes out to them. Survey comes back and it goes to Maura and CBB. Have nothing to do with it. And we get graded. Last year, we ended the year at 91.1%, which is absolutely incredible. Our goal every year is 88. And to be truthful in this industry, 88 and above is absolutely superb because there's just so many dynamics with every single event that can go on. We have been over 88 every year since we've been up. We've never been below 88%. So customer service is a huge thing for us in the building, and how we service all the clients that come into the building. We also have a room night goal, just as Lori Fatosik and Matt talked about, they all have room night goals. The convention center, we have a room night goal also. And I'm proud to say that since we've been open, it goes up every year. That we've met our room night goal every year. Last year, we were just right around 40,000 room nights for events held in the convention center itself. So that's an absolutely incredible number also. So we talked about the subsidy that the board gives us, $1.395 million, to help us with our $8 million that we got to make throughout the whole year. And the funny thing is, a lot of clients that come to the building, price is always a thing for them. They're trained to come in and get the lowest price that we can. And we have those conversations when the price is high, and they can't understand why. Why is my meal X amount this year when it was only this amount last year? And then we ask them, have you been to the grocery store lately? Because you can't tell me you hadn't noticed the increase in prices in food, and steak, and chicken, and eggs, and everything else. But their job is to just try to get the lowest possible price that they can. But a lot of people, when they look at what we charge in their mind, and have a lot of clients do this and have this conversation many times, is they think we make a fortune. They think we just make a fortune. Bottom line is we operate just in the negative every year. Okay? We don't make money. We operate just in the negative every year. We talked about the $1.395 million that CDB gives us. Every year, since we've been open, minus COVID years, we have always given some of that money back. Last year, we gave the most ever that we've ever given back in a year, which was just about $820,000 of that $1.395 that we didn't even need. So we're approaching that point where, we may not even need that money in the future, depending on the prices that come out and it becomes. We may not even need that subsidy. But when we return that money from the subsidy back to the CDB, that money goes directly into the capital improvements account for the building. That helps us maintain the building. That helps us with all the mechanical issues, with roofing issues, with replacing equipment. When a chair gets sat in 50,000 times a year, they tend to wear out. So you're constantly having to purchase new equipment. There's always mechanical. We're looking at some roofing things right now. The buildings that roof's been on the building right around 14 years, 15 years. So there's always things to look at on the capital side. So when we do really, really well, and we can give money back, the money goes right into the capital account to help us for the future. That's huge for us. Because one of the things that we talk about is repeat business. We have a lot of repeat business in the building. But if you come back to the building and you see the same thing all the time, you're going to get bored with it. And then you're going to look for something else. So I'm not sure how many have been in the building recently, but if you know when the building opened, the inside was orange. It's no longer orange anymore. It is now blue. So we've changed the whole look of the building. We spent a lot of money on lighting, on color changing lighting on the out. You've been by the building at nighttime and seen how colorful it is at nighttime. It's absolutely beautiful. We've done a lot of the same thing on the inside of the building. We've changed carpet. We've got new chairs, new lighting packages in different rooms, so that when the guests come back, they're seeing and experiencing something different. And that's our goal right now going forward, is to continue to make improvements in the building and change the building so that it's constantly state-of-the-art, modern, up-to-date looking building. And that's what we use the capital money for. So when you look at this convention, and I talked a lot about numbers, and I talked a lot about records and what we've achieved over the years, it's very, very important. But to put things into context for you, with ASM Global, our company, we have convention centers all over the United States, all over the world with that. But when we take all of our convention centers across the United States, including all the big ones, the Irving Convention Center ranks in the top 5 based on performance in the whole company. So that's huge. That says a lot for a building that is this size. You know, it's not a Cobo Center in Detroit, it's not a McCormick Center in Chicago. It's Irving Convention Center, it's 275,000 square feet. But it packs a heavy punch in the industry. And that makes us very, very proud. So my bosses, often, I laugh every time I think about it. They call me and we're having conversations about how the building's doing and everything. I'm giving them all these numbers of where we're at. And the question they ask me all the time is, how do you do it? They want to know, how do you do this? Because a lot of convention centers across the country are not performing the way we are here at Irving. People may say, why is the building doing so well? I'm digressing a little bit. My theory is, since COVID, a lot of large meetings have downsized into smaller meetings. Having more regional meetings across the United States. This is just my opinion, so don't put any of this. But I think they've broken down. And I think that now we're getting bigger meetings than we've ever had. There's more regional meetings. And they're looking for markets and places like Irving, who can provide them with restaurants, who can provide them with hotels, who can provide them with entertainment, who is centrally located between Dallas and Fort Worth, who is very close to DFW and Love Field. All those dynamics come into play. And I think that's a huge piece of it. But my bosses are always, how do you do it? They want me to give them the secrets so that they can get in on the action. And I often tell them, because this is all I got, I said, I'm in the best city. I have the best contract administrator in Laura. Yeah. I have the greatest CBD team to work with. I have the best ASM global team that I've ever had to work with. Teamwork makes the dream work, and Irving really rocks. Thank you all very much. Open for questions. Yes, sir.
Funding, is that Convention and Visitors Bureau funding from the hotel occupancy tax?
Yes, that is the same funding that the CBD is funded with the hotel occupancy tax. That money is what funds my portion also.
So I have 3 questions. One, so a lot of you obviously with all the events, a lot of staff. Where does that staff come from? Is it local? Is it around the area? Second to that is how's their pay comparison to other areas here at DFW? And then what are the top 3 staff positions that you have in the convention center?
I think he said 2 questions.
No, he said 3.
You know, so they count different.
What was the first one? The first one.
Where do you guys get most of your staff from?
You know, staffing has been a hard thing since COVID. A lot of people left this industry during COVID. It's been really difficult to hire people. And you have to, whereas normally if you want to hire somebody in a few weeks, you can do it very easily. Now it takes quite a few months to find the right person. That's always been a challenge for us. I just hired somebody last week out of Detroit. So she's moving here in the next couple of weeks. But it's tough. I will tell you, I won't settle for just anybody. They have to fit in with the dynamics of the team. My team, the CBB, the structure we have. That's very, very important. Second question was salary.
Comparison to other areas.
Yes. So when we came out of COVID, and I talked about that, you know, it was like sales managers could demand their own price at this point because they were in such high demand. So virtually across the whole area, the prices went up. And if you wanted to get a sales manager, you had to be willing to pay. And that was a hard thing for me, especially coming out of COVID. You're trying to figure out am I going to have business? How do I make these things work? You know, from the finance side, I will tell you that we bumped all those salaries up to where they needed to be in the top part of being competitive. We've gotten the people that we needed to get, and the business has been there to support it. And right now, I have the largest staff that I've had since we've been open. Oh, so the third part was,
Top 3 positions, staff positions that you guys have available.
I would tell you that sales managers tend to turn over. One, because it's so competitive out there, and hotel down the street can say, hey, I need 10,000 more, steal them away from me. The other thing is, a lot of people leave not because they're unhappy, they leave because they're growing in their career. And while that's hard for me, it's something that I support very much. Because as you start to grow in your position, you're limited as to what you can do in the convention center. Basically, if you want to move up from a sales manager to a director of sales, the director of sales has to leave. So you're kind of sitting there in limbo, just waiting all the time for somebody to leave, and that normally doesn't happen a whole lot. So they start looking outside and continue the job on the outside and move up in their career that way. And I have to accept that. That's a good thing. I don't mind people leaving because they're advancing their career. That means I gave them the training and what they needed at my ability to be able to move on in their career. And I would make the same decision that they do.
Hey, Jordan, did I see a question pop up on the chat?
Robert.
From Robert?
Tom, while he's looking at that, is there a discussion at some point about enlarging the convention center?
We've talked about that a lot. We are landlocked. There's nothing we can do. We have nothing behind us, nothing beside us, nothing in front of us. We have nothing. But I would also caution you, you can enlarge, but it doesn't always mean that it's gonna pay off. What you have now is special. It's perfect. And it is doing what it needs to do to be successful. So expanding is not always the answer on that side, but we don't have really go anywhere but up, and that's impossible.
You have a question?
No. She did a question.
Yes.
Do you do hybrid meetings, and so is the responsibility on the customer?
We have not done any real hybrid meetings. Do we have the ability to? Yes, we do. We have our own AV coming in-house, which is Inspire AV. They have all the equipment necessary if we wanted to do that. We thought that was going to be a big thing coming out of COVID. Turned out for us to be nothing. And we were prepared to make the changes necessary to be able to do those type of meetings, and to have the equipment available, and to have a room available. And we never had to do it. In fact, now it's become hard for people in person just to get a room. We are booked pretty solid. I know there's no weekends available for next year. You know, and then you look at during the week, and we have 2 and 3 events a day during the week. I mean, we are, for the next year, we're solid. And when you want to look at next year, predictions for next year, we've already got a solid base on the books for next year. When I say next year, October 1st is the start of our fiscal year. So we'll end the year here September 30th, and we'll start over in October 1st. We've got a solid base on the books. But a lot of our business also is, and we're still in this pattern after COVID, is booking in year for year. They're not going to book too far out. They're going to book their next year and their next year when they get to that point. So it's something we talked about in some of our executive meetings. Is it seems like before COVID, we were like a train just roll, and you could do business the same every year, and it would grow every year, year over year. And then we hit COVID and everything shut down. But since COVID happened, every year has been different. The approach to every year has been different in how we manage the process, and how we manage the business, and how we manage the budget. Because dynamics are changing year over year right now. But we've done a great job of managing that process, and we are at a point where breaking all these records again this year, you know, I don't know where the sky is the limit. But we're not resting on our laurels with what we got. There's other cities around us, city of Frisco, sports area, the things that they're doing. You got a Universal Park going in. You got Arlington, you know, the entertainment sector over there who continues to build on what they have. You have Fort Worth, which people view as the old Texas and a unique area together. You get all the suburbs, Allen, everybody that has different projects that are McKinney, where they just had the PGA tournament a couple weeks ago. And the plans that they have on building a concert arena up there. Nobody's stopping. We can't afford to stop either. We got to keep working on what makes Irving special. That can never stop. And we have a lot of opportunities and infrastructure out there to look at and figure out over the next few years, but we have to continue that, or we will get passed up by everybody else. That's hugely important to the success of this building. And I don't think anybody could ever imagine where we would be today on this building when we opened it a while, in 2010. Yes, sir. What is our gross revenue? I can tell you our adjusted gross income for a year is about $7.5 million.
I got one other point, and we live here. It's nice to go down there and see the board and know what's inside, what convention is, and you just started doing that more and more.
So, some events can go on the board, we've been public events, like this past weekend was Fright Rare. We had 20,000 people in the building this past weekend. Not a show I would recommend you go to. It's a great show in the building. If you like blood and guts and people walk around, that part of it. But those types of shows we can put up on board. If it's a corporate event, we don't necessarily put them up there. The other thing is we have under construction right now out on 114, we have a huge monument sign going up there with a TV screen in it. That matches the one out in front of the building. One in the building is the mini version. The one out on 114 that they're building right now is the giant version. So we will have a giant version out there advertising the shows that are coming in. And I said, your weekend shows are generally public shows. And those are the ones you're going to see on the board out there every single month. So, yes. Anybody else? Very good. Thank you for allowing me to be here today, do this again. Hope I gave you some good information. If you haven't been over the building well, or over seeing the new colors, the new looks, new products, new everything.
Appreciate it, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Well, one of the things that Tom did not touch, which is like what's in it for us, right? So why does all this matter that information is doing really great? As we mentioned last year, you guys booked about 40,000 rooms, that would say, Tom?
Yes.
So that's $40,000, well, for hotel costs, right? And those people are eating, they're drinking, they're hanging out, they're doing all this stuff, and telling people how great Irving is. And so, as you heard from the last speaker, right, Irving it has this identity. We're kind of starting to see it more and more of what Irving really is and what it becomes. And this conversation that we're having from Mara's team, I think, is helping highlight what kind of community Irving really is, which is, well, there's a lot of things that happen in the background to be able to do all those things. And we're grateful to have great members from the Rotary Club that, we support a lot of different areas that help Irving to become what it is becoming. So I commend yourself for all the work, especially some of the Rotarians that have been here for a very long time, because we wouldn't have this had that all of this had been found out. And as Tom said back in the days, it was just fields that somebody just had a vision, and that now we're just building from it. And as mentioned too, there's no stopping, because either we keep going, we have the luxury that we're in the middle of everything. So if you want to go to Frisco for forward, you're probably gonna have to go to Irving, so why not just the things Irving, right? And so that's a very good advantage that we have. I think the city displaying what it does. So keep out the great work, and hopefully next time you come, we'll keep hearing great numbers. And again, all of that this means that Irving is getting more revenue for all the community projects and whatnot. I see they're already giving back to the funds that they don't need, so. I know we have one more announcement. I think Rick wanted to remind us about something that's going on with some flag program. What was that, Rick?
I can do that.
Yeah, cause if I say it, you know, it sounds better if you do it.
Well, I'm gonna support our president-elect over here, but my flag week started Tuesday when I got this call from this Rotarian lady who said, I have a team, do you have a route? Terry Oliver. So we gave Terry's team, the Grand Chorizo group, 28 flags. Her team showed up at the barn, picked up the flags, and I went to help Bob put in sleeves at the convention center along 114. By the time I got down to where Terry's team was, it was raining cats and dogs. The team was soaked, and all 28 flags minus 2 were already out. So our newest team of flag people is the Irving Cares team. Let's see, Richard Raymond and Jose met me at Millennium this morning. Bill, we put out 72 flags, and they're all out, and that's why I'm dressed in flag attire. But just so the club knows, your flag Rotarian teams are these two guys, Shine and Ryan have a route. Robert has a route. Patty and Donna have a route. Jerry Oliver has a route. Richard Raymond and Jose Carter. So if you want to experience, in addition to building flags, just call one of those teams and you can experience it and maybe decide to take on your own flag route.
I have a question.
Sure.
How do we figure out what's the flag attire and when you have? Is it like a?
Well, you should have on a Rotary shirt that Shane did, but I didn't get the Hawaii shirt. So, but anyway.
Yeah, God. One's enough. One of those shirts is enough in the club.
No. I have one more thing I want to say. Yes, Tom, I was the chairman on March 13th of 2020 when the world travel stopped.
Yep.
And yes, we did have a great year up to that point. And I want to say thank you for you and your team working on that side. And you responded amazingly in getting the building ready with sanitation, all of the equipment and all of the updates that it took to make the escalators and elevators safe. It was amazing. So thank you for helping me make it through that COVID first few months and on into October when I handed it to Karen Cooperstein. So yeah, congratulations on this uphill climb of what y'all are doing up there. And thank you for helping me. That's all I got.
Well, do you have any more announcements for the club, for any members? Okay. Well, thanks guys for being here. Thank you, fellow parents, for being here, and we're going to turn the meeting.
Four-way test.
We're going to have Val, please rise. We're going to have Val, lead us in the four-way test.
Please join me in the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First,
Is it the truth?
Second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
fourth,
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
All right, now we know.
There you go. You gonna get his picture?
Yes.
yeah, I'm gonna get a picture so